Hey everybody, I'm John Granato, and that's Lance Zierlein. We're on the bench, mornings on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. And in case you missed it this week, after the Deshaun news broke, Lance did a little digging. Lance, what did you find out about this potential trade?
Well, I think one of the things that may be taking place in the background is we may have some movement. Despite it not being very public at the time, there may be some movement in the background regarding Tony Busby and his clients and Deshaun Watson and those lawsuits. We know that if it goes to deposition in February, it could get ugly. And I think there aren't many NFL teams that are going to want to trade for Deshaun Watson unless they get a lot of draft pick protection. And I don't think that's something Nick Caserio wants. So the fact that guys like Mark Berman and John McClain have this information about Deshaun Watson potentially being traded very soon to the Miami Dolphins, I take that as pretty good information. And it also lets you know that there's a pretty good chance that there's some movement in the background related to those lawsuits. The other thing, John, is that there could be an issue, and one of the stumbling blocks, two of them could be, number one, obviously, the NFL has to decide what they're going to do with Deshaun Watson if he is traded. And so having all of this coordinated together where Miami is not going to be surprised with what happens in terms of potential suspensions. And then will Deshaun Watson look for a new contract? There's been some buzz around this from some sources that Deshaun Watson could look for a new contract from Miami. Now, that would seem outlandish since he's never played a snap under the current contract. But when you consider that Miami might say, all right, you know what, we'll give you some more free money for your, with your signing bonus, but we're going to add a couple years onto this deal, that might make more sense for Miami because let's face it, it's not a long-term deal like Pat Mahomes' deal is with Kansas City.
It would only make sense for Miami because he's got 4 years left on this deal, 4.5 years left on this deal, and they're going to want him longer, especially with all the draft picks that they're going to have to give up. And it would make sense that there might not even be a suspension period if he settles with all of these plaintiffs and they drop all the criminal charges against him, all their accusations against him. Then the police don't have to do anything either. There won't be any criminal. The depositions won't get out in the public because he settled. So this all could well go away for Deshaun Watson in a really nice package, and he could possibly get more money. This is all working out pretty damn well for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, but
and you know what else works out well, Lance? When you give your car to a kid.
Yeah. When does it not work out well when you give your cars to a kid? Well, with John and his daughter Frankie. That didn't work out well. But this is a totally different thing. Cars for kids are vehicles a lot of times that don't even run. They don't even work.
Like Frankie's car.
Oh, yeah, but at one point it did.
Yeah.
But they'll come out there, they'll haul it off your property, whether it's a car, a pickup truck, a motorcycle. They'll come and haul it off, and you get a $50 gift card. You get a tax write-off. Usually you're paying people to come take it away. Cars for Kids will come do it for you. It's something you can't miss out for. Right off the car, not the kid. Make sure you go to carsforkids.org.
Hey, do we have any idea what the Texans are going to get for Deshaun Watson?
First, circling back just for a second, I believe that Ezekiel Elliott, who was the police dropped, the charges were dropped against Ezekiel Elliott. They didn't pursue it, and the league still suspended Ezekiel Elliott. So what the league finds is what they're going to go by in terms of their potential suspension. Now, from what I've heard, it could be 3 firsts and a second. That could be what we're looking at. I know there's some people in the league that thinks it's going to be more like 2 firsts, a second, and maybe a player or two. Any way that you look at it, I think you don't even have a conversation if it doesn't start with 2 firsts and a second. You don't even have that conversation because Miami does not have their own first-round pick this year. They have San Francisco's first-round pick, and the way Miami's playing, Miami's pick would be a whole lot better. But San Francisco, I guess, is the pick that you're going to have to look for there. So it's going to be interesting to see what the compensation is. I know I've heard rumors that it'll be 3 1s and at least 1 2 and maybe more than that. And if that's the case, then Nick Caserio, to me, is getting proper value for Deshaun. And I always felt like that's the only thing that matters. I don't care when he gets traded, just make sure you get proper value.
You and I are in a text stream where the question, what do the Texans have to gain with John McClain and Mark Berman breaking this at about the same time? Why is this being made public? And what I answered on that text stream was because it gets everybody else up off their duff to make offers. The Eagles and the Panthers all of a sudden, wait a minute, Miami's going to get them? Now I got to up my offer. So it would behoove the Texans to make that public. Mike Florio was on the Wheelhouse, and he said exactly the same thing. He said this is going to drum up interest and urgency.
I read what happened yesterday as an effort by the Texans to get other people to the table and or to make the Dolphins think. Others may be coming to the table so that the Dolphins will finally give the Texans what they want.
Have you heard anything about that?
I haven't, but it makes sense. You know, even if you're close to a deal with Miami, even if you've got the agreement in principle, which is what I've heard, that they do have an agreement in terms of compensation, even if you have that, it's not a bad idea to leak it out there just to see if somebody wants to come in with that sense of urgency, because this will create a sense of urgency. If you wanted Deshaun Watson badly enough, you'll come in with your best offer. There's no soft selling what your offer is. You got to come in with your best offer if you know that Deshaun's really about to get traded. But now let's be honest. We've heard that he's on the verge of being traded 2 other times previously. So this time, I'm counting on especially the name of Mark Berman, who he doesn't go with stuff unless he feels very, very strongly about it. The fact that Mark Berman has that leads me to believe that the Texans have given him information and that he feels strongly that he's not being used as a pawn. And so that makes me feel good that this could get done.
And let's face it, there was no urgency before because there was no trade deadline. Trade deadlines always create urgency. And that's what you're getting here. And if the Texans just want to get out of it and not wait until next offseason to get rid of them, and they feel like they're getting their best offer here and they're pushing the whole thing, and you say, well, they could have called the agent behind the scenes and said, unless it's out there and that the Dolphins are really into this thing publicly, then I wouldn't believe them if I was the Panthers. I wouldn't believe them if I was the Eagles. It's out there now. They're probably going to come back at them with something decent. I think he ends up in Miami, though, don't you?
I do, too. Ultimately, Deshaun Watson will be a Dolphin.